What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So, you guys know I've been a fairly harsh critic of Tyreek on this page, and not for anything he does on the field, just the general person that Tyreek is. He's arguably our most popular player on the team. I would say he's better at his position than anyone else on the team is better at their position, and he's kind of a lightning rod type character. So, anything I've said, I think, has been substantiated by what Tyreek has done. He's been far from a model citizen. You guys know there's a lot that the media knows about. There's a lot of stuff that we don't even know about that we know has probably been going on, right? But I got to give Tyreek props here because I think this is a level of self awareness I haven't seen from Tyreek, right? So they asked him during a interview after practice today, like, how do you feel about not being initially named the captain? Is that something that you're really like looking out for? And he said basically, I have a lot of work to do with the team, right? I burned some bridges. The idea of I don't know if I want to be here. These guys aren't working as hard. I know like the team did a pretty good job of keeping it like under wraps. I know Raheem Mostert is one of the people who was outspoken. He's no longer on the team, but people hear that. These are guys you're in the trenches with, and when you say things like that, it's basically like, "Hey, I'm doing my job. Y'all aren't doing y'all's," right? So he said, "I don't feel like I deserve to be a captain at this moment, and if down the line I can earn that captainship, then that'll be awesome. If I don't get it, then I'm not going to like make a fuss over it." And I think that's really the best sign of leadership I've seen from him, right? Being a captain doesn't mean you're the best player on the team. For most teams, the captain is a quarterback. Usually it's an offensive lineman, maybe a linebacker, or just somebody who's a leader on the team. The leader can be how you perform, right? That's leadership. Hey, follow my lead. It's also, hey, man, like, are you getting the troops in line when they're not doing their job? Because sometimes being a good leader is like, hey, I may not be the best player, but I have a good pulse of the locker room. I have a good pulse of the team. Like, hey, get your head up, bro. Like you're not bringing it. Just having the right energy, having the right temperament, being a locker room glue guy. All these are integral parts of being a good leader, and I think of being a captain. And I think Tyreek has been named captain basically on play alone. He's been so amazing on the field. He's so dynamic that he's been a captain. But it's hard to say that we've seen him portray captain tendencies and features as a player on the scene. He seems very much like a me, my, I guy, which is how I think a lot of receivers are. But also, his off the field is so that it's hard to be like, hey guys, we gotta lock in on the season. I'm like, really, dude? Because you've been not. You've been doing a lot of other things outside of here, but he's so good at football that we've kind of let it ride. I think this is the first offseason and the first time where like his play and offseason have collided, where it's like, hey, we can't just keep looking the other way. We can't just say, I know you can do whatever you want off the field, have this and that going on, these legal troubles, these marital things, and he's still a captain. I think it sends the wrong message. And I think this is the first time that this might be Coach McDaniel keeping him accountable, which I think is important to do because, again, Coach is on the hot seat. So is GM Greer. Like they're both on the hot seat. So we all got to be accountable. I think Tua's on the hot seat. We're not really saying that, but that's maybe foreshadowing. Everyone, no one should feel secure in their job at this point. When you don't win a playoff game in this regime going into year 4, if this year comes and goes and we don't win a playoff game, you don't win the division, I think it's totally on the board that everyone's job is kind of on the line. Like you get 2 years to kind of turn it around. The first year we should see market improvement. We did that. Then you want to sustain the improvement, and then you want to keep growing. The minute you do this and it starts tapering off, what are we talking about, right? So I don't feel like Tyreek should be a captain at the moment. I think this is totally on brand. Um, I think it will be Tua for sure. I think Big Zach will be a captain, and if we need another one, maybe I would say like a Jalen Phillips type, but he's injury prone. Austin Jackson injury prone too. I don't know. Maybe Brewer. It's hard to figure out like who the captains should be. It should be someone who I think is on the field and someone who has a pulse of the locker room and who people respect, right? I don't believe anybody in the secondary fits in that category right now, but we'll see. I think Tyreek could earn the captainship if he keeps on the up and up and he's doing the right things. I do think he may be rewarded with the captain down the line, and I think that will feel maybe more earned, and I think he'll feel more like, hey, I got the confidence back, and it may even go to a team vote, like, hey, do you guys think Tyreek should be a captain? And if they say as a team we're behind it, then I think that's the best way to do it. But yeah, I think this is a good self reflection from Tyreek. I respect the fact that he has said it. It didn't feel like it was like a corporate response. When it's like, we just get back to the work. And you're like, that's not how you feel. Your boss sent you an email and made a phone call like, hey, like, this felt like he was kind of like, hey, I know I've been messing around. And maybe this is 31 Tyreek. Maybe this is going to the last year of a contract Tyreek. Regardless, I like what you're doing. Now, I mentioned Tua a second ago because that's part of the show. But we asked Coach McDaniel, basically, what is it you expect from Tua this year? If you looked at every offseason for Tua and Coach McDaniel, we worked on different things. One was like how to fall. Remember when he was like doing like judo lessons and learning how to fall without concussing himself? That was one thing. Then we're talking about let's put some weight on so you can absorb the blows of being hit and falling a little bit better. Cool. Then it was let's lose weight and get a little more mobile because we felt like you were too stiff the year before. So there's been progressions of Tua-ness. This year, Coach McDaniel basically is like, hey, I need you to master this offense fully. If you watch the Dolphins offense, and a lot of Kyle Shanahan-based offenses, the coach slash OC basically lays everything out, and then the quarterback executes what they see. There's a Brock Purdy, there's a Tua. Maybe not as much Stafford, because Stafford can do a little bit more, but McVay is also kind of from the same tree. But it's like, hey, I'm going to draw the play up. You execute what the play is. I don't need you thinking much more outside of that. I'm such a genius as a coach that I'm going to make sure it's in the right place. That's kind of how the offense has been designed. That's why our offense is basically snap, fake handoff, boom. Hey, that guy will be 8 yards in 1.2 seconds, hit him at the 8-yard mark. It's been very much like that. But what that limits is that when the defense doesn't allow for that to be the play, if you only just do what the play does, then you throw yourself into either some picks, you may throw your receiver into a grenade pass, which we've all seen. Shout out to Chris Olave, who's gotten a bunch of those in his career, where you just throw the ball across the middle and just the linebacker or safety is just coming down. And you could have thrown it lower, but you've been throwing it a certain way because you assume there won't be any danger. We had a game last year when Dolphins played Houston, I believe it was, where Tua threw the ball where the ball was supposed to be, but the linebacker had dropped back into coverage or a cornerback had like filled the space. They weren't there pre-snap, post-snap, they were there. And because he was so like 3-step drop, come out, throw the ball, he threw it directly to him and it got returned for not a touchdown, but he got returned the ball inside the 5. And it was a situation where if he had just scanned the field a little bit more, he would have seen, oh, that's a dead pass. Either, dead it, throw it away, or check it down. Whatever else you want to do, don't throw the ball across the middle. The guy's waiting for it, right? So, Coach actually had a whole quote. I just kind of rambled for a second. But he said about Tua, he's a franchise quarterback of a team. His job is to lead men on each and every play and find different ways to continue the process of evolution for him. All the things a quarterback is asked to do, I think that's where he's at. He's dipped his toe in the water with everything, and now it's consistency and mastery. That's why it's a never-ending exercise. Right. So now we can go back. Yeah, so part of it is he hasn't mastered the offense. What he's mastered is running the plays that Coach McDaniel has drawn up. Part of mastery of an offense is really pre-snap and then post-snap reads. They did a breakdown of Jalen Hurts against Kansas City in the Super Bowl, where Kansas City was trying all these different like fake blitzes and we're going to give you a false coverage and bring a guy down in the box and then drop a guy back. And all season, those have been working. We know Spags has been a mad scientist killing people like all year, right? And what happened is Jalen just saw where those flaws were. He would either take off and run or he would almost check it down immediately before throwing into bad coverages. And once those plays weren't negative plays, because a lot of Spags' play calls are designed to get negative plays, right? It's not just to confuse you. It's to like make you hold the ball, throw in the coverage, or get sacked. So if you scramble for 5 yards and we tried our crazy blitz package, that throws off the defense. But that's because he had a pretty good mastery of their offense last year. And also, the offensive line is amazing. We think that Tua is really good at running the plays. What we don't usually see, and Dolphin fans can be honest about this, Tua usually doesn't get to his third read unless he has amazing protection. Right? He's a first read, second read guy, and then possibly throwing it away. Now, I'm totally fine with that because usually that means he's trying to get out of the pocket because he doesn't want to get hit. We love that. But to really maximize the offense, that's where the off-script stuff comes into play. And that's when, hey, first read not there, second read not there, but I still got a pretty clean pocket. Maybe my third read needs to break off his route. Maybe a receiver ran their first route, ran into coverage, looped back, came back to me. Maybe if I backpedal a little bit, give myself more time, maybe the running back is in there chipping, it hasn't gotten into coverage yet, or gotten into his route yet. There's different things that can expand an offense, right? And I think if we're only relying on first, second read, not there, then that's not a mastery of an offense. That's basically you're like a substitute teacher. You're just like following a lesson plan. But if you don't have a book, can you go teach a class? And I think Tua looks like he's a little bit skinnier this year than he was 2 years ago, probably a little heavier than he was last year. So he's in kind of an in-between weight, which is probably a comfortable weight of he feels as quick as he wants to be while also having a little bit of padding on him. And again, we're still in off-season, so he could lose or gain weight. But at this point in the offense, he's got basically the same targets. He's adding Nick Westbrook to the team. He's got the same running game. Offensive line should be better. I expect to see pre and post snap Tua to be better because that's really what's going to take him over the top. And hopefully he lives up to what we think he can be. Now, this last story is absolutely ridiculous. There was a report that the Titans are going to trade Will Levis, mostly because they have Cam Ward. Don't need Will Levis to be here. I know we put a lot of draft capital into him. We thought he could be the guy. We drafted quarterback number one. The prevailing wisdom is that he's going to end up going to a team like Pittsburgh or maybe to a team like Minnesota that may be unsure at quarterback. He's still very cheap. He has a lot of upside, big guy, big arm, fairly mobile, right? But there's a dark horse for him to come to the Miami Dolphins, which when I read that, I was like, is that typo? And the idea was, well, look, you signed Zach Wilson for $6 million, but Will Levis is only going to get paid a little bit over $1 million for the next 2 years because he got a lot of his money up front. I don't know if Zach Wilson is actually better than Will Levis. I think you can argue Will Levis has actually been better than Zach Wilson. He's got a better touchdown to pick ratio. His win-loss is about the same. He beat the Dolphins, which we most likely get into that game. But the ceiling for Will Levis is very high. Big arm, big kid, never could put it all together. But again, also cheap. So the idea would be basically you would bring in Will Levis and just dump Zach Wilson. Now, y'all know, never been a Zach Wilson guy. I don't actually mind this. I'm not the biggest Will Levis guy either. I also don't feel like he was being coached particularly well in Tennessee. I think Calvin Ridley is a good receiver. He had Nick Westbrook there last year, so technically if he came to the team, hey, I know you, like he has a receiver he knows. I don't think the offense was good. The O-line was average. The running game was whatever. I didn't see a lot of creativity in Tennessee games, right? So it wasn't like he was always playing poorly. Now, he made a lot of critical mistakes. Oh, my goodness. That boy would throw a game away like that. But also, Zach Wilson did the exact same thing. So I don't believe this is a thing of like the Zach Wilson, Will Levis thing is this. I think they're like here, and Will Levis is, I believe, a year younger, bigger, and cheaper. So that would make sense to bring him in for those reasons only. If you believe Zach Wilson has this crazy upside, I still think Zach Wilson's kind of small and that, yeah, he has a lively arm, but his body won't hold up. I believe Will Levis's body will hold up. I think he has more upside physically. I don't know, like between the ears, how well he sees the game, but I don't see Will Levis like breaking down as easily as Zach Wilson. So this seems like a wild request, wild option. I believe he will go to a team like Pittsburgh before going to a team like Miami because I believe if his agent is smart, he will try to get him to a team that he could possibly play. He's not going to outplay Tua. But if he wants to go to a situation where he can be a backup, be with a great offensive mind, learn, maybe enhance his game, then Miami could be an option. And if we can get rid of Zach Wilson, I'm fine with that. Now, this does leave Quinn Ewers kind of in a weird pocket where he's our quarterback 3 now. You bring in Will Levis. Maybe those two can compete, which I'm fine with as well. But I think he brings a different element than we have in a quarterback room. Again, he's also cheaper. And I do think he has physically more upside. So I don't believe this is like the most likely outcome. But I won't be mad at it. We'll see. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate it. Love and support. Thank you for the likes and subscribes. We'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.